So streetball has been around pretty much as long as basketball itself, but around 20 years ago, the game of streetball changed completely, and that was caused by the And1 company, their mixtapes and their tours. So before this video starts, I'm doing a daily December. I'm uploading one video every single day. A huge thank you guys. We just hit 35,000 subscribers yesterday. That was my goal for well, my goal was 25,000 and we've absolutely smashed that and hit 35,000, which is unbelievable. Big thanks to everyone that subscribed recently. Big thanks to everyone that's been watching the videos every day. And it's hard to believe that there's only a couple of days left in daily December. So anyway, now let's get on to the video. Almost all professional basketball players have played streetball at some level, but the streetball that became really popular back in the early 2000s was completely different. This type of streetball was as much entertainment as it was basketball, and the And1 mixtape started the streetball craze. People like the Professor, Hot Sauce, and even people halfway across the world in Wales like the Conman, who I actually got a chance to make a video with. A link to that video will be in the description. We're playing streetball professionally. And while they probably weren't good enough to play organised basketball at an extremely high level professionally, they were able to make a great career out of the game of streetball because it was that popular. And they were the best at what they did. These streetball players were able to make a fool of any defender. They were able to do pretty much whatever they wanted in a one-on-one setting. And this was extremely entertaining to watch. I remember watching a load of the And1 mixtapes as a kid. I remember being like 16 years old when the Professor Spider-Man videos came out, remembering how cool that was. But while, as I said earlier, these guys were the best at what they did, a lot of what they did didn't translate into an actual game of basketball. And a lot of these guys were just entertainment more than anything. But there was actually an And1 streetball player that made it into the NBA. And that was Rafer Alston, also known as Skip to My Lou. The guy who was seen as the inspiration for the And1 mixtape tour. Rafer Alston grew up in Jamaica, Queens and New York and was a standout basketball player from an extremely young age. So Rafer Alston began playing in Rucker Park at an extremely young age, and at 14 years old began to dominate at the park. Him and Stephon Marbury often played in the backcourt together when they were 14 and 15 years old, and would dominate in games against pro players, against college players, and against some NBA players. It was at one of these games in Rucker Park where he got his nickname. The Rucker Park announcer gave him the name Skip to My Lou because sometimes he'd skip down the court while doing a little dance. While he was becoming a streetball legend and dominating in Rucker Park, he played high school basketball at Benjamin Cardozo High School in Queens, New York. But due to off-the-court issues, he only played in 10 games in his final 2 years in high school and wasn't heavily recruited. He played 3 seasons of college basketball, 1 season at Ventura College, 1 season at Fresno City College, and 1 season at Fresno State University. He then declared for the NBA draft, where he was taken in the second round, the 39th overall pick by the Milwaukee Bucks. The next season he ended up playing for the Idaho Stampede of the CBA. And that was the year that And1 Mixtape Volume 1 began to circulate. This became one of the most popular pieces, if not the most popular pieces of basketball media at the time. And due to its popularity, Rafer Alston, well, his nickname Skip to My Lou became almost a household name in the early 2000s. However, he struggled his first 2 years in the NBA, averaging 2.2 points, 2.1 points, and 3.5 points in his 3 years with Milwaukee. He was then traded to the Raptors, where he averaged 7.8 points and got some more minutes. But it was the next season in Miami where he really began to step up. He played 82 games, starting 28, averaging 10.2 points per game for a playoff team. He then went back to Toronto, where he averaged 14.2 points per game, and then spent the next 4 seasons playing for the Houston Rockets. He was arguably the 3rd best player on that team with Tracy McGrady and Yao Ming. He was traded to the Orlando Magic in 2009, where he went straight in as a starter for the injured Jameer Nelson. Alston also started all 23 games in the playoffs that year for the Magic, who actually made the NBA Finals but lost to the Los Angeles Lakers. He played in 50 games the next season for the New Jersey Nets and the Miami Heat, and was then out of the NBA for good. He played in China for a year and had a small stint in the D-League, and then he retired from professional basketball in 2012. While he showed flashes of his old And1 self, Rafer Alston wasn't able to bring streetball and NBA basketball together. If he had the ability to do that while still being successful at the NBA level, he would have been one of the most marketable players in the NBA and one of the most exciting players in the NBA. But at the same time, he was a very solid NBA player, a really good 3-point shooter, good passer, and also with quick hands and defense, having a couple of seasons where he averaged nearly 2 steals a game. And while doing all this, he was able to sometimes go back to the And1 tour and change his play style completely, go back to his streetball roots, and still be the most exciting player on the court at any given time. So one of the big things that I've taken from this is the fact that the streetball game just flat out won't work in the NBA. While there's definitely some parts of it that can be used, there's a lot of drill moves that can be used, and we're seeing it more and more in the NBA with players like Kyrie Irving, but in general that style of basketball isn't that useful. It's the reason why we never saw Hot Sauce, we never saw the Professor in the NBA, or even in a league close to the NBA. Is the reason why Rafer Alston is the exception, that all of these And1 Streetball players who appear to have the best handles around, is the reason why none of them except for Rafer have ended up in the NBA. So anyway, that's the video. I think it's crazy how he was able to go from being one of the most entertaining basketball players in the world at the streetball level with the And1 tour to playing in the NBA and being a really solid contributor on a great team. So anyway, that's the video. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.